yourself, can't you?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So have we opened the doors? Yes, we have. Yeah. Brilliant. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome along to our regular Friday webinar session. We're just going to give folks a chance to come in. So just bear with us. There is no questions to our answer this time. So we're going to go straight into the presentation in a minute or so. So just bear with us to give a chance to people to join us, because it is, let me see, what is the time? It's only just 12 o'clock. So if you don't mind, folks, we'll give people a minute or two just to join us before we go into today's webinar, which is another interesting one, which I hope will give us some new information, valuable information in terms of the sustainability agenda that we're all working with at the moment. There will be an exit survey, so we will be needing to use slido.com, and also, of course, we would ask you to use slido.com to ask your questions. So you might like to get that ready on your phone at some stage. So we'll just give folks a little bit more time to join us. We are expecting 30 odd people, of which not everyone's in yet. So we'll give them a chance, because if they're like me, you're coming straight out of one Zoom meeting into another. And it's not always difficult to be absolutely on time. So just bear with us if you would. But make a note and maybe get the slido.com reference ready on your phone so that you can ask questions of Brandon shortly. Thank you. I think what we'll do, Brandon, it's 2 minutes past now. So I think, okay, in fairness to those that are here, we ought to make a start, and others can join us as we go in. So officially then now, folks, a very good afternoon. My name is Andrew Carpenter. I am Chief Executive of the Structural Timber Association, and also Chief Executive of Constructing Excellence in the Southwest and in the Midlands. And I'm joined in hosting these Friday webinars by my CE colleagues from around the UK. In fact, we're all meeting tonight in London because we've got the final of the Constructing Excellence Awards for 2021, where all the winners from the regions are coming together to see who the grand finalists and winners are in terms of CE National. That's happening tonight, but that's just an aside. We're also joined on these webinars by CIOB in the Southwest. So there's quite a plethora of organizations that have now come together to bring you these Friday webinars, which are proving to be very valuable. We're getting some great feedback, so thank you for that. We've now got about 4,500 people that have tuned in at some stage in the last couple of years, and that's very good. So we thank you for your support. Today, we are delighted to have Brandon Weston with us. Now, Brandon is the MD of an organization called Cube Modular. They are recent new members of Constructing Excellence, and Brandon, we're delighted to have you on board, and we're delighted to be able to give you the opportunity to talk about the incredible foldable cabin, which is all about sustainability. There's no doubt that the biggest topic on everyone's lips at the moment is the climate crisis, and it's nice for Constructing Excellence to actually be able to bring to our members and supporters details of things that will actually move this forward, because it's all very well and good sitting in working groups talking about this, but actually what we need is practical examples of how we can do it. So we're delighted, Brandon, that you could give time from your busy diary today to give us one example of how we can help the climate crisis agenda. So I think probably the best thing for me to do now, Brandon, is to mute myself, stop my video, and then allow you to share and get on with the presentation. And I'll be back with a Q&A later. Thank you.
Fantastic. Andrew, really appreciate the invitation. And hello to everybody in Constructing Excellence. It's great to be part of the organisation, and particularly as the construction industry it really should be paying attention to innovations like our cabins, which obviously really help to meet those sustainability targets and transport plans. We hot off the press for us with your awards tonight. We were actually in London last night at the Festival Suppliers Awards, and we've been nominated for the award or the Green Award for innovation in sustainability, and we won the award. So very pleased about that. I apologise if my voice is a little off tone. I think we finished about 2 o'clock this morning, so apologise for that. But it was great to get that award, obviously. Right, let me get straight into letting you all know about CONTINEST. Now, CONTINEST is, as Andrew points out, it's a foldable cabin. But obviously there's a lot more to it than that. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, and how that perhaps can help you meet your sustainability targets and your transport plans. Just a bit about Cube Modular. Cube Modular is part of Cube International. Cube International is extensively an events-based company with 3 main arms to the business. Cube Management, so that runs event infrastructures and runs its own events, including a new event that we're launching in October, an e-bike event. Partnership is very much about official merchandising. So we won the contract for the Commonwealth Games official merch. We do the official merch for Aston Martin Formula One, Williams, British Cycling, Athletics, and lots of other well-known brands, which help us do what we do from a retail point of view. And then Modular, we're the portable building side of the business. We mainly operate in events, music festivals, sports events, music events, things like that. But we also work in construction, rail, military, and other areas as well, outside of the events business. Just the lead team from International and Modular here. I won't bore you with the details. I'll share this across the board later, so you can have a look at it in greater detail. But a lot of experience there in business, and particularly in the events world and all other sectors. So what are we about? Sustainability clearly is a key driver at the moment, and it's very important to us as a business in whatever we do to create products and services that have sustainability in mind, and front and foremost. That's so important. The product, our main product in Modular, is the CONTINEST foldable cabin, and this system is developed. It was developed in Holland, actually. Very clever inventor. It's manufactured in just outside Budapest in Hungary. Very high standards of construction and manufacturing, and we as a company own the license to the product exclusively for Europe and the worldwide sporting rights. We do some work in the Dubai, Saudi, places like that with the Grand Prix, and in America as well. So we have the license for this system, so it's exclusively available via Cube Modular and nowhere else. I think the best way to quickly demonstrate how the system works is just to play you a quick video, which is of a installation in Manchester. How do I me just stop the share a sec, and I'll share it with another. Let's open this one here. Sorry. Here we go. Apologies. Let's find. Oh. There we go. Right.
Do you need any help, Brandon?
Oh, sorry. Did my
nothing showing on our screen.
Oh, apologies. Sorry.
Brandon, sorry, is that the same link you sent me on email? I could share it.
Abraham may be able to do it better.
Oh, can you, Abraham? Shall I start it again?
No, I'll just share it. I'll just share the video.
Okay. Shall I play the video now? Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I will play it. Yeah.
There you go. Sorry about that. Thanks, Abraham. Appreciate that. Right. Okay. Let me share again. Sorry. Okay, right. Let's get back to the. Let's get back to that. Okay, cool. So you can see from the video that the system itself literally folds from a storing or a standing space of 550 millimeters, and it folds up into a 20-foot or a 10-foot size cabin. The construction is PIR Kingspan panels, so fully insulated within the building system itself. All the electrics are in there, the LED lighting, the consumer unit, power sockets, and obviously the external commando socket is on the front outside. So once that the cabin's been pulled up, it can be used in that, as you can see in that case there, with a HIAB, which is often the method of delivery, but also we use telehandlers as well, particularly with challenging sites where we can't get the HIAB to. We use a HIAB then to with a jig on top, lift the cabin up, and once it's in its sort of lifted up position, the hinges on the system are turned 90 degrees, which then turns them into posts. That's the bit of the system that's patented. The system has a worldwide patent, and it's on the hinge system, which has that paint, and that's the clever part about it, really. So once that hinge is then turned 90 degrees, once all 4 of them are turned, it's totally safe, even without having the walls folded down at that point, or even with no walls in it whatsoever. Once those 4 corners are up, that's it. That cabin's perfectly safe. You then, on the 20-foot version, the 2 end walls with the doors and the windows, they then fold down from the ceiling space on hydraulic arms. They're located into position, and then the HIAB or the telehandler just then drops it down to lock everything together. Matter of minutes. That I think the record for actually putting a CN20, which is obviously a 20-foot version, up and putting it back down again is 2 minutes 20 seconds. So it really is a very quick process and enables for very speedy installations on sites, which I'll come on to some more details about that later. As I've said, the basic system has 2 sizes to it. Your 20-foot, 8-foot width, 2.44 standard container width, and the 10-foot, again 10-foot by 244 or 8-foot, which obviously gives you the flexibility to have a number of different solutions in practicality. The cabin's also very easily joined together. You saw in that video that we were building a larger structure from the cabins. That particular site was in Manchester. It was a COVID-related site, the first one we did actually for the DHSC, where we installed temporary laboratories. And that there were a 5-bay and a 4-bay building and some other ancillary buildings to go with it. But the main structures were a 4 and a 5-bay, which were open plan. The system is flexible in as much as all you need to do is take out the side walls, which are effectively 2 king span panels, which are positioned with locator screws. They get lifted out, and then the 2, whether it's a 10-foot or the 20-foot versions, or many multiples of, can then be joined together with a profiled rubber system and bolts that pull them together, and that they can be jointed multiple times. We've done as many as 10 to make a large open plan building, but it just gives you that flexibility. You don't need, if you want a larger structure, it doesn't need to be prefabricated or organized. It can arrive to site full, and then we can take the walls out when that decision is made on site. So it's an extremely flexible solution. Obviously, the benefit of it being foldable means that we can get multiple cabins on one transport. So the 10-foot version, you can see on the lorry here, the 10-foot version, we can get 20 of those on a HIAB and a drag or a curtain sider, which obviously is enables for a large installations with on one transport. The 20-foot, we can get 10 on some wagons. You can get 11 if the drag trailer is lower. So again, you've got 10, 11, 20-foot cabins on one transport, which clearly, compared to a static system, is an 80% saving, or at least an 80% saving on emissions and road transport. The graphic here clearly demonstrates you've got two lorries which have 10 20-foot CONTINEST cabins on, 10 on each, and that clearly that's the equivalent in fixed cabins. So it's a good demonstration of how the system really does take lorries off the roads and reduces congestion, and also makes for a much quicker and an easier installation. And I'll come on to that a bit shortly. Just a few images to say I'll share this. That's an interesting one. The ski village, that was back in 2019 when we took 120 cabins to the Swiss Alps and installed the FIS downhill championships, which is on at the moment. You may have seen it in a car park at the foot of the mountain there. And again, the restrictions that we had with that installation were that we had 72 hours to do the install and 72 hours to de-rig it. We had to be off that car park. And we achieved that. And we worked long hours, obviously, but it wasn't 24 hours straight. So again, it sort of demonstrates how that system really benefits quick and easy installations into challenging conditions, and also it was minus 20 degrees, on some nights, and the cabins are so well insulated, people were just wearing normal clothes. So it demonstrates how good the system is. I think I'm just going to talk about a case study here, which Formula E, which is the London Formula E, is at Excel in London. It's an in and out race, goes in and out of the building. And again, if I may, Abraham, I'll show a little video in a moment, if perhaps you might share your screen on that in a moment. But this is a really good demonstration of when the system works extremely well. That installation was 122 20-foot cabins. A lot of them were inside Excel, a lot of them were outside, used for various things, obviously race control. We had driver briefing rooms, the accreditation unit that you can see there, which is basically, it's a 20-foot cabin, and we have a demountable roller shutter that fits on the front there. Oh, I've lost that. Sorry. A demountable roller shutter, which then covers the front, and then obviously extruded aluminium and perspex windows there, which is something that we do quite a lot of, which may be relevant to you. But you can see from that the units can be stacked at least two up. We haven't gone further than that. There's not often a need to, but certainly they can go be stacked two up. And all of this race control here, the whole thing again is all open plan. So you can see the versatility of the system there. So that installation, 122 20-foot cabins, we delivered and installed it in 5 days flat, which with a static system that it's just not possible. You can imagine we delivered that whole infrastructure on 13 trucks. A fixed system, static system, would have been over 60 trucks. And you can imagine 60 trucks waiting to get into Excel to individually drop off each cabin, and the extra time that would take. So this system allows you for really speedy installations. We de-rigged it in 3 days, which again, because of the way that it's handled, you can pre-deliver the units flat and then come back and put them up. You can do the same with de-rig. It really does work very well for that. So as a result of using our system, we took 48 trucks off the road. That's 48 journeys there, 48 journeys back. and a massive savings, obviously, in CO2 emissions. I've got a video here actually, which is quite. Abraham, can you play that video and share your screen? I don't know why it won't click on mine.
I'm afraid I don't have the link for this one.
Just bear with. Sorry, guys. I can probably. Here we go. I've got it here. Can you still see that? Can you see that? Yeah.
No. I can still see your slide.
Is it showing the wrong slide? Is it?
No, I cannot see the video, just your slide. Could you copy the link and just send it on the chat? Maybe I can play it.
Maybe if I send you the link, we can do that in a moment.
Yep.
Sorry about that. If I send that to everybody, you can have a look at it. It's quite an impressive video. Are you back on my presentation now?
Yes.
Sorry, can you see the presentation?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sorry about that, sorry. Let's just full screen that.
Do you want to, yeah, you can click play from current slide, the second icon on the top.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, full screen.
Oh, there you go, hang on, it looks like it might do it. Can we see that?
Hello, how would you like to be fun?
No, it's still your.
No.
I think you're sharing just one screen.
Oh, okay, I'm with you. Okay.
PowerPoint window, so
okay,
you need to share your screen and then do that. It should work.
So I'm.
You have to stop sharing PowerPoint and share screen again.
Okay.
And share the screen, not just one window.
Oh, I'm with you. Sorry. Yeah. Shall I do it from here? So if I share this screen here, that should do it, should it?
You stop sharing so I can see you. Yeah, seems to work. Yes.
That's it. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Right. Let's play. Let's get rid of that.
Free from just one deal. And what am I doing? Stood in the middle of a load of balloons. This one property. You do a deal like.
No, that's the same one. We'll get this right. Here we go. Here we go. I think the good thing about that one there, it was really showing the system being de-rigged really with the forklift, and it's so easy to do that. Most of our installations, or the major installations, are done by using either a telehandler or a forklift. Right, let's move on to the supplier awards. Let's go that one there. So I think in the construction industry, we really see this as a major benefit to the industry, and certainly we've had this we introduced the system in the back end of 2019. Just before the pandemic, and obviously at that point we just got it out there and had some great interest in it, and then obviously the world changed a little bit, and events and festivals were cancelled. So our initial attitude towards the system was to really get it out to our core clients, I suppose, and our core market being the festival industry. And then when that we weren't able to do that, obviously we started exploring other marketing opportunities for the system. We did countless COVID infrastructure sites, temporary laboratories, and drive-through, obviously swabbing drive-through centres, which are still out there to this day. So that sort of kept us, or got the system out there for that period of time. Now last year we had a very good festival season, with most of a lot of the music festivals really buying into the system, and certainly the festival industry, the events industry, has really bought into it, and they have a real desire to make a change, and to reduce their carbon emissions. You know, they've got a net zero plan by 2025, which is incredibly ambitious. But the industry as a whole takes it very seriously. And what's interesting, I think, about when you look at the numbers, what's interesting is the majority of those CO2 emissions are transport, whether it's getting kit to the site, or obviously people attending in their vehicles. But a great part of it is lorry transport or haulage. So that's why I think this has been really embraced by the festival and events industry, because they're able very quickly to demonstrate by changing one product how much saving they can make in their CO2 emissions. And I think we can do the same thing in the construction industry. The cabins themselves really come into their own when you're on a shorter term hire solutions. So for contractor villages, for short installations of probably up to about 12 weeks, that's when the system works best, and particularly when you can deliver multiple units obviously on a single transport or multiple transports, but making sure that you fill up those transports. So that really is when it comes into its own, by delivering your infrastructure, whether it's site offices or whether it's for a construction project, a shorter-term construction project, and you need site offices and accommodation and everything like that. Then by using this system, you're really demonstrating your green credentials to your clients, and I think that's the That's the driver behind it. It's obviously we need to be more sustainable in our approach, but what's been evident to us is, and certainly in the festival industry, is that their customers are making buying decisions based on the sustainability of the company. So it's really important, not just from a saving the planet perspective, but also from a business perspective. It makes absolute business sense to be demonstrating to your customers that you're not just paying lip service to sustainability, and you're actually doing something about it. We had a case last year which demonstrates how frustrating it can be. I won't mention any names, but we were dealing with a major construction company that was in charge of installing a contractor village in a large manufacturing plant where they have a shutdown every year for 2 weeks. So our system is perfect. They put a 60 cabin village in there, which houses the maintenance contractors and obviously offices and storage and things like that. And we put a very good proposal in. They were absolutely all over it. And then I was expecting the PO. Everything went quiet. Chased it a few days later, and the person who was responsible on the ground for ordering the cabins had just gone back to the previous supplier and ordered the same dirty, oily system delivered on tens and tens of trucks that they'd used for the last 10 years. So we've obviously already signed the paperwork for later this year. But everybody's got to buy into it. You know, it's no good companies writing or publishing sustainability and transport plans if the people on the ground, their guys, aren't then complying with them. So it's across the board recognition that things have to be improved, and here's one product that makes a major impact in those savings. Just quickly on the products themselves. So obviously, a site office is a major thing that can be used. The system can be used for. We've now developed what's called a wet cell, which is a little ensuite, if you like, that bolts on the side of the smaller CN10 unit and also on the back of the CN20 unit. So we have developed a hotel effectively. Again, it's been developed for the festival industry, but you know, there's no reason why it wouldn't go down well with construction industry as well. And that's a 20-bedroom ensuite hotel, which is delivered on 2 trucks, 20 CN10s on one truck and 10 wet cells on the other truck. It's a double wet cell, so it sits in between 2 of the CN10 10-foot units, split in the middle, one left and one right, sort of thing. So again, more innovation, and that's what we will continue to do: develop the product to make it flexible, so it has every sort of use that you could think of. So yes, just a sort of summary of what we're trying to achieve, and again, you know, I've covered it. It's all about taking lorries off the road and improving efficiencies of installations, which again is more sustainable. You haven't got 50 lorries queuing up waiting to come in. You know, you've got 10. So in many ways it reduces that footprint and reduces wastage, and is obviously far more efficient. So yeah, that's really it from me. I hope I've explained the system well to you. I'm sorry about some of the technical problems, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions and that you'd like to throw at me.
Okay, thank you very much, Brandon. Very good. And what's really pleasing for me is that as an organization, we're able to maybe take some best practice from another sector and introduce it into construction, because obviously constructing excellence is all about best practice, not just about learning from one another in our sector, but also from taking it from other sectors and indeed abroad. And some of you on the call will know that I lead a double life, in as much as I do construction by day and entertainment by night. So it's interesting that maybe something in that entertainment sector can help us improve our sustainability. Now then, Abraham, do we have any questions on the leaders meets? Yes, we do. I think we have one. So if there's any more questions, folks, you'd like to put to Brandon, please go to slido.com and ask them. But for now, Brandon, I've got a question for you, but I'll ask this one first from Anonymous. Mention that the solution comes into its own if maximizing the unit delivery. Does the solution still offer enviro and financial benefit at smaller scales?
Yeah, very good question. I think obviously if we're delivering 1 or 2 cabins to a site or wherever, you're not going to have the environmental benefits over a static system, because obviously the static system is delivered on one truck as well as ours will be in that situation there. So it's certainly better to use it in larger installations where you've got 8 to 10 cabins, because obviously the savings, the financial savings, are clearly in the haulage. And with the cost of things increasing ever more, it's that will become more prevalent as time passes. But the answer to the question is no, it doesn't. It is much better if it's used in where you're filling a truck up, I suppose.
I suppose you've said no, it doesn't. I would think that answer is more aligned to the financial benefit. It surely still has an environmental benefit.
Yeah, obviously we're not taking any lorries off the road if we're only delivering 1 unit.
Well, no, not what. Yeah, okay. If we take it to that level, I accept it. Yeah.
But any more than that, where you're, where you go over 2 units, where you need, if you were having a static system, where you need a second truck to deliver the third or unit, then obviously we're taking that truck off the road in doing
that's my point, because those of us within constructing excellence have been working for years to try and get people to talk about value, not cost.
Yes.
And if we're going to make this climate crisis stick in terms of achieving net zero by 2050, people's going to have to change the way they think and measure, in my view.
Absolutely. And look, it's what's interesting when you read sustainability policies, and there's a lot of offsetting in there, and when you really get into the bones of it, we haven't got enough ground in the entire planet to be able to do enough offsetting for the amount of carbon we're burning. So offsetting obviously is part of the solution. And it's a good thing to do that, but it's not the entire answer. You have to. It's
a bit of a get out, Brandon, for many people. It's a tick box. So I've done my bit. Move on and carry on as I normally do.
We have to. You're right, and we have to change the way that we're operating. It's as simple as that.
So we've got a few more questions now. So I'm going to leave mine till the end. But next one, they're all anonymous. Interestingly. Can we have the next one then, please, Abraham? How much is the product versus traditional cabin costs? There we go.
It's the product itself. If you compare my rental cost to a static rental cost, it's more expensive. There's a lot more that's gone into it. There's a lot more technology, obviously. But when you look at the bottom line, where you take into account the delivery and installation, everything, there isn't a lot in it. That's certainly within the festival industry. It is slightly more expensive, but with all the savings that you're making, the sustainability savings, then really there's not a lot in it.
And I think you said that within the entertainment industry, or the those that are carrying out festivals and so on, you've now got a clientele that are actually asking questions in that arena. So
yes,
that I think that's going to begin to kick in far more with construction, certainly with young house buyers, for example.
Sure.
Anyway, let's go to the next question. How do you accommodate? Is that accommodate kitchenettes, shower rooms? How do you manage stairs when double stacked? That's an interesting one.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, the basic system itself includes all the electrics, and that's within the system. And then the wet cell product that we have. So what we've tried to do, obviously, to make it the most sustainable solution is make it as efficient in space as possible. So the bathroom solution has a shower, decent sized shower. You know, it's not a tiny little caravan one. It would be suitable for anybody to use. Obviously, a toilet and a sink, and that space that it takes up fits into a 2.44 meter, 8 foot deep pod that's 1.2 meters wide, and within that space there's 2 shower rooms, one to feed the cabin on the left, one to feed the cabin on the right. So again, we can get 10 of those on one truck. So again, that's where we can't make it foldable. Obviously, it's got a shower and a toilet and a sink in it. But what we can do is make it it's the most efficient design as possible. And then, of course, that if we're doing a 20-bedroom hotel like that, then we've got 20 CN10s on one truck, 10 wet cells on the other. If we're doing a 10-bedroom hotel, it all goes on one truck, you know. So that solves that question there. And then things like kitchens. Obviously, certain things will be delivered to site either on the truck that's taking the system, depending on if there's any space on there, or we obviously use ancillary vehicles for staircases and kitchens and things like that. We use a product for kitchens called Elfin Kitchens, which is a very clever little all-in-one space efficient system with a fridge and a microwave and sink and everything all built into one unit. So that's how that's managed.
Okay, let's go to the next question then, please, Abraham. How do you manage the lighting, heating, power supply into the unit?
It's just like a normal static, really. There's a 32 amp commander on the front above the door. It can be plugged into a power bank, generator, house power, depending on the setup on the site. So no different really to a static cabin, and they're designed in such a way that you can daisy chain them together multiple times, where you've got one incoming power supply. We are developing a solar system. Obviously, solar is great and everybody is very interested in it, but the reality is it doesn't give you enough power really particularly when you're installing air conditioning units and heating units. But obviously there are lots of sustainable power solutions out there now, and they are developing more and more. So the ideal scenario obviously is that we develop our solar system where it'll be a complete standalone unit which is completely sustainable.
Okay, thank you. Are there any more questions, Abraham, or is that the last one? Because if it is, I've got, oh no, here we go. Does it need level ground concrete pads for it to be landed?
That's a really good question. I'm glad that's been asked. Actually, I didn't cover it, but we use or no doubt a lot of you in the construction industry will be familiar with jack pads, which is for those that don't know, it is a foot, an elephant's foot with a screw which allows you to adjust the height. And that's widely used in the modular portable building industry. It didn't work. That system doesn't work for us because the foot sits outside of or part of the foot sits outside of the footprint of the cabin. So we've actually developed our own now, which is a very similar product. Has a pad, and then on that is a locator. And the adjusting screw fits underneath the cabin, but it's all contained within the footprint of the actual cabin itself. With the festival industry, places like Boardmasters in Newquay, Watergate Bay, it's a challenging site, and it's not quite on the side of a hill, but it's not far off, and that's the system that we use for that, and it works very well.
Okay, we've got another one here. What's the weight of the units? Can they be turned through 90 degrees to get through narrow access pathways?
We've done it. We did it with a CN10 actually. On our YouTube channel, the videos on there where we had to take a cabin through a very narrow bridge archway. And it wasn't wide enough, because don't forget the cabins, when they're folded down, they fold down to about 550 mil. So as long as you've got 2.5, say, of width, you don't need the height that you would need for a static system. So they can be put through archways and things like that. And actually, we did an installation in London in a railway arch where we did just that. The archway wasn't tall enough for a static system to be pushed through, so we used our system, and we built this big 7-bay open plan office for TfL, and when it was finished, it just looked like a ship in a bottle. How on earth did you get that cabin in that space? Okay. But so if you've got 2.5 of width, absolutely no problem at all. And we've put them in a military conference in Budapest. It went through a hallway of a building. We have done them on their side, or we did a 10-foot and used a sort of trailer sort of trolley system. It can be done. It's not something that, it's a bit of a challenge to do it, but it can be done. But the weight of them, the 10-foot is 800 kgs, and the 20-foot is 1.6 tons. So
okay, thank you.
They're lighter than obviously a static steel or Portakabin style building. Yeah.
Okay, Brandon, thank you. Before I go into the survey, I've got a question, because listening to you for the last hour or just under, obviously within Constructing Excellence, we're all about sharing knowledge, best practice. And I joked earlier about my sort of life in the entertainment world in the evening and construction by day, but I was just thinking that actually there could be a CE event that we could put on for our members and supporters, whereby we do take best practice from industries outside of construction and see how we can adapt that best practice to suit our own industry. So is that something you feel would be worthwhile? So construction, looking at other sectors, not just the festivals, but maybe the health sector, maybe the education sector, maybe retail, and so on and so on.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the system, we've done work with the NHS and clinical operators, obviously, over this period of time. We're now getting, we've done 4 or 5 school installations for local authorities as well, where they need a quick solution for temporary classrooms for a short period of time. Those installations went very well, and I think the cabin fits really well into.
I was really, thinking of whether you thought that was a good idea, because I'd widen the portfolio, so yours would be one example.
Yes.
But are there other examples of best practice in other sectors that we could bring together?
Right.
Yes. To create this sharing knowledge platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's being smart, isn't it? With and that's what we're seeing in the festival industry, is they're really getting into the organization of the delivery of their infrastructure, and they're doing that across the board. It's and looking at innovative ways of getting things to site, or sharing loads, or creating their own portals for backloads, and within their own supply chain of suppliers, and therefore the suppliers work together, and that's that's certainly a good example of how that can be replicated in the construction industry. You've got,
and I as I say, you've got me thinking now, and I think I'm going to go off and look for other examples, not in this field, maybe in all sorts of different fields.
Absolutely.
But that's good. Okay, Brandon, thank you. You'll see on screen now, ladies and gentlemen, if you could go to slido.com, hashtag LM280122. That's the code for today, and there's a feedback survey on there which we ask you to complete. As I say, it does help us in terms of planning our future webinars. So thank you for that. What have we got on the next slide, Abraham? Is it the details of next week? Oh, it's blank. That's good. In line with our IT issues today, maybe. Oh, here we go. We're going to try again. Let's see what we've got coming up now then, Abraham. No, it's not going to work, is it? Or is it? No, it's not going to work. In which case, maybe I should say that next week we have a very important webinar again. They're all important, but we're going to be taking a look at the Value Toolkit. As you know, Constructing Excellence has been working with the Construction Innovation Hub now for over a year, and Ian Nicholson from the BRE is going to be joining us to update us on the Value Toolkit, and also discuss how it can or should influence project outcomes. So if you have an interest in that, and I'm sure we all do, please join us next Friday. Oh, there we go. It's up as if by magic. It's up on the screen. So please do join us next Friday at 12 o'clock to hear what Ian Nicholson has to say on the Value Toolkit. Have you got the one about the CPD? Yeah, brilliant. They're working now. So if you want a CPD certificate in terms of what you've heard today, you need to go to www.mypropass.co.uk, and there's your code, INJM for mother -0223. There we go. If you want a certificate. Just leaves me now to thank Abraham for hosting it so admirably today. Particular thank you to you, Brandon, for giving up an hour of your valuable time to share your knowledge and experiences with us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. And right now, I'm going to wish you a very good afternoon, a lovely weekend. And to anyone that's joining me tonight in London for the CE National Awards, let's have a great party. Cheers. See you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.